Hey guys, I am Hannah, evolutionary astrologer, and in this video, I want to focus on and talk about our recent shift in our sky. So the nodes of the moon, the nodal axis moved from Virgo Pisces into Leo Aquarius. And one very important thing before we begin is that I'm speaking about the true nodes, not the mean nodes. So in my practice, I use the true nodes. And this shift happened on July 27, 2026, and the Leo Aquarius nodal axis will be our nodal axis until March 26, 2028. So it's a big stretch of time. It's around a year and a half. So this means that if you have planets in Leo, or if you have planets in Aquarius, or if you have planets in Leo and Aquarius, these planets are going to be activated by the transiting nodes. And this is really, really, really significant. That's the same thing if you have planets in Taurus and planets in Scorpio, because this transiting nodal axis will be squaring those planets in Taurus and Scorpio. So this is a big activation of the fixed signs. So that's Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. So let's unpack this. First of all, what are the nodes of the moon and what is the nodal axis? So in evolutionary astrology, which is what I practice, the nodal axis on our natal charts, they speak very, very much about the evolutionary journey of our soul across many lifetimes. So the south node shows where we're coming from. So this means our past lives and our gifts, our capacities, our struggles, our tendencies, our challenges, our lessons, all the things that we've learned that we're bringing with us. I like to think that the South Node is like the backpack that we're coming into this life with. And all the things that we have gathered, all the things that we have developed and learned, and the things that are ultimately familiar to us. Now, the North Node is very much like our North Star. So this is what we're here to do, to develop, to move towards, to learn. But ultimately, our journey isn't just about choosing one of these nodes and thinking that the North Node is the place to be, the place to go, and we should just stay there. But really, what we want to do with our natal nodes is to find a point of balance between these two nodes. They work as an axis, they are a pair. So, what we want to do is to balance them, to find middle ground, to integrate both of them and have really the both the best worlds and embody that, to embody the wisdom of our nodes. So, this is the nodal axis in our natal chart. So, when we look at the transiting nodes, this means that we're all under this Leo Aquarius axis. It's impacting every single one of us. Even if you don't have planets in Leo Aquarius, you're still under this cosmic weather. That's the cosmic weather for humanity right now. This Leo Aquarius axes and themes and lessons. So our job here isn't only to move towards that North Node in Aquarius, but it's also about bringing the gifts of Leo and ultimately balancing Leo and Aquarius, which really, a very simple way of looking at it, it's about the balance between the heart and the mind. Leo is the heart, Aquarius is the mind. So that's humanity's job for the next year and a half. And I want to talk to you about what this means in our personal lives and also how we could look at this collectively. So let's start with Leo, right? Leo is very much about our personal sense of purpose. It's a fire sign, which means it's a very personal energy. It's very subjective. It has to do with our own inner fire. What lights you up? What are you passionate about? What inspires you? And then when you're living from that place fully, from that heart-centered place, you shine, right? You're happy, you're fulfilled. You feel that your life has meaning and purpose. And when you shine, when you are fully embodying your own inner fire, your own inner flame, you naturally illuminate other people as well, right? That is the highest expression of Leo. It has a lot to do with leadership and creativity and fertility. And when I speak about creativity, I am talking about all kinds of creativity. So some of us create businesses, some of us create books or astrology presentations. Others create children, others create art, projects. So anything that's coming from that space, and that's a really good question to keep with us as we're having um, this transiting axis in Leo Aquarius. The Leo part says, what gives me life? What makes me feel alive? And then expressing that unique creativity that you are. There's only one of you, right? So expressing that into the world. So again, what lights you up? What are you passionate about? What inspires you? What moves you? And if you don't have the answer yet, that's a really awesome time to reconnect with that, to discover, to take the steps towards it. And if you already have the answer, it's a time to really gain momentum and move forward in that your own creative process. Leo is also about leadership, as I already said, right? And it's about taking up space. It has to do with visibility and having that courage to put yourself out there, to be seen, to share your creativity with the world, right? To share your creations with the world. So there is a certain level of risk involved, that willingness to step into the spotlight. Sometimes it's a tiny spotlight. Other times it's a big stage, literally or symbolically. And this is also being amplified with our Jupiter. Jupiter is currently in Leo as well. At one point, the South Node and this Jupiter will come together. And Jupiter's job is to expand whatever it touches. It says, here is where we are meant to grow right now. This is where we're meant to expand. So if there are things that you've been thinking about for a long time or projects that you've been working on behind the scenes, this is a great time to put them out into the world. But as with every sign and every archetype in astrology, we also have to look at the shadow, right? The potential for the biggest light, the highest expression, but also the lowest expression of that theme, of that energy. And for Leo, the shadow side can become very egocentric, very me, me, me. And that can lead to a lot of attention seeking or doing things from a place of ego instead of from a place of heart. This could also lead to a lot of drama and excesses. So it can't become the focus can be about being recognized, being admired, receiving the applauses, or being validated by other people. So it can take us to a place where we start to feel we're looking for approval outside of ourselves instead of really remembering and shining our own inner light. This could also be a lot of attention to status, to image, to feeling special, to popularity. And it might take us to this place where we feel like we have to constantly perform, to constantly impress or prove my worth. So pay attention because sometimes there can be a little confusion about visibility with purpose or believing that being seen or receiving all the likes or all the followers, that's the goal, when really the goal is to express what is genuinely in your heart. That should be really the main goal here with the South Node in Leo and this Jupiter in Leo as well. And also pride, pride can make it very difficult to admit mistakes, to ask for help. and even to allow yourself to be vulnerable, because when you put yourself out there, there's a certain level of vulnerability that comes with it, right? With being on the spotlight, with being seen, or putting, that baby into the world, your project, your book, your whatever it is that you're creating. So there's something here that really helps us. It gives us that courage and momentum and really being brave and taking a risk. Um, but be careful also not to be prideful and to not show vulnerability or to feel that you have to be strong and always put a brave face. There's something about letting people see your humanity as well, that you are an imperfect being. But at the same time, I love the sentence that says we're all masterpieces, but we're also a work in progress. So really, we're both, and really, it's okay to be both, right? So throughout this nodal axis, this year and a half, keep asking yourself, am I creating from my heart, or am I creating because I want the recognition? Am I sharing genuinely from that place of wanting to contribute, or because I am looking for validation from the external world, from the outside? When Leo is connected to the heart, it does not need to force attention. It's just naturally shining. So allow yourself to naturally shine. And the people who are going to be drawn to your authenticity, they are the right people. They are the right audience for your work, right? The most evolved Leo doesn't need to prove it's the brightest light in the room. It's just shining naturally. In doing so, that really allows and help others it gives others permission to shine too. So it's a really beautiful archetype when it's expressed at this higher level. Now, the other side of the axis, we have Aquarius. What is Aquarius? Aquarius is our brilliance, our own genius within. This axis of Leo Aquarius is such a creative axis, and it's fixed energy. Fixed energy is potent. And again, it's bringing heart and mind together. When we bring those two together, we can really create magic, right? And Aquarius is about innovation, science, technology. It's helping us to think outside the box and be original and upgrade and elevate. It's about elevating things, taking things to a higher level, to a higher vibration. Aquarius is always asking us, how can we do this better? It is very future oriented, because this North Node is telling us to look ahead. It's about our vision for the future, where we're going, how we are evolving, and how we continue to move forward instead of staying stuck in old ways of thinking or doing things. So it's telling us we must think outside the box if we want a better future, not just in our personal lives, in our relationships, in our jobs, in our families, but also for humanity at large. We must think differently and we must do things differently. Aquarius is an air sign, so a lot of this work is happening through the mind. I spoke about Leo being about fire and the inner flame and the heart. Aquarius is now moving things to the mind. And Aquarius reminds us and teaches us and sometimes even pushes us, again, to think outside the box and to question our stories, our fears, our limiting beliefs, our old patterns of thinking, of doing. So it's really asking ourselves, what if there's another way of looking at this and doing this? So sometimes the biggest shift in our lives isn't about changing our circumstances, it's about changing our perspective about our circumstances. And think about the antennas on the glyph of the planet Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius. It's the antennas that are connecting us to really cosmic energy. And from that place, we are receiving also, we're tuning in to, expand our mindset, expand our way of thinking and elevate. It brings us to the cosmic. It says, don't just look at what's going on here. We must connect it to something bigger than us. And Aquarius also reminds us, just like Leo, this is such a creative, juicy axis. And Aquarius reminds us that every single one of us has something unique to contribute. And when we come together, when we bring, our own unique contribution and embrace our, differences, and recognize our uniqueness, in coming together in community, in our friendships and groups and organizations and whoever you surround yourself with, we build something amazing together. So Leo says, what is my purpose? And Aquarius says, how does my purpose contribute to something bigger than me, to my community? Aquarius is a very communal, tribal signs. It works in that ability to bring, it's like the round table of King Arthur, right? It's these connection and networks and grids that we create when we bring our minds. So not just my mind and my heart, but when we bring together a group of minds and a group of hearts, we're stronger in a team. So this is a time, guys, to elevate our lives, to elevate our relationships, our friendships, our work, our creative purpose, and the communities that you are a part of. And it's a time to find new people as well. Find people that maybe resonate with you more, who share your vision, who inspire you, who teach you, who make your life bigger, right? And people to grow with together. And as you already know, what is the shadow? What is the shadow potential here? The shadow of Aquarius can't be all mind, no heart. So that could lead to a lot of emotional detachment, living too much in the mind, disconnected from that heart center place. And this means that it can become overly intellectual, over analytical, and analyzing everything, understanding life through the mind, and forgetting to bring the heart, the emotions, the intuition of the heart. Aquarius can also be very rebellious simply for the sake of being rebellious, being different, being, ahead of the curve. But instead of um, instead of really bringing something that is ahead of the curve and useful, it can just reject traditions and authority and other people's ideas without really asking whether this rejection is actually serving its growth, right? So really coming from that space of superiority and thinking that your ways or your ideas are the enlightened ideas. So taking us to that place of intellectual superiority and feeling like I'm more evolved. People just don't get it. My friends don't get it, right? Which it can be very much part of the process, but check in. Check in to see if there is a different wavelength between you and others, or if there is that tendency to dismiss that because you might think that those ideas or those people are inferior, right? So we need to bring the heart as well. So it's interesting, ironically, that Aquarius is an air sign which has everything to do with diversity and bringing people together and being open-minded, but also, the shadow side is becoming very rigid in its own thinking and automatically dismissing something without really taking the time to really understand. So again, if we disconnect from our hearts and from people, even with for the sake of serving humanity, for Aquarius, loving humanity is a concept, but there can be a struggle with closeness, with intimacy, with emotional vulnerability, and even one-on-one relationships. So the invitation of this nodal axis, this nodal cycle, is to really ask ourselves, am I open to new ideas, or am I just attached to my own? Am I thinking differently in a way that creates more diversity and freedom and betterness of all? Or am I just acting from a place of disconnection from my heart? Ultimately, The North Node in Aquarius, that pull towards Aquarius, isn't asking us to leave the heart behind, right? That's why Leo is on the other side of this, because our minds are incredibly powerful, but our minds are wiser when they're guided by the heart, right? So this is the message of these nodes. The lesson is not to just choose one or another or to think that one is better than the other. It's bringing them together. So heart coherence with mental clarity, leading from our hearts, but thinking, but having that vision, honoring our individuality, our self expression, our unique um, quality that, our uniqueness, each one of us is so unique. We have that unique signature, but bringing that into something much bigger than ourselves, to a community, to a group, our organizations, to whatever the environments that you're a part of. Because when we have the heart and the mind working together, our creativity becomes more inspired. Our decisions are wiser, and our contribution to life, in whatever way, shape, or form that shows up for you, becomes even more meaningful, right? So that is the invitation that we're all under this weather for the next year and a half. So some potentials of what might we expect over this next year and a half. For example, shifts in leadership. Leo is leadership, right? So who's leading? Who are the people that you're choosing to follow, to listen to? We may see a lot of changes in political leadership, organizational leadership, are the leaders in our communities, influencers, the leaders on the internet as well, public figures, celebrities, whoever is the celebrity in your field, right? That's very much part of the conversation here. And also in your personal life, maybe you are being called to step into a new leadership role. And we're going to see more people stepping into visibility because Leo rules the stage, performance, recognition, self-expression. So we might see new artists. You might be one of them. Musicians, actors, performers, speakers, content creators, entrepreneurs emerging. And established public figures might go through major turning points in their career as well. We might see a surge in the arts, right? This can be an incredible period for music, for film, for theater, for design, entertainment, all the creative industries as a whole. So new creative voices may emerge, and people may feel a strong desire to express themselves authentically. So what is your part in this? What are you creating? Um, Leo also brings a lot of questions about children, fertility. Leo is the sign that's connected to children in pregnancy and that creative life force. So we may see more people giving birth. We may see increasing conversations around. I mean, we're already seeing a lot of the birth rates are declining. So that's going to come into the spotlight, including fertility treatments, reproductive health. Aquarius brings the science, so IVF, all these things about raising children in today's world, raising children, in this highly technological world that we're living in. One very interesting thing that I was reading about is that we're seeing the birth rates declining in many countries while pet ownership continues to rise. So I was just reading that, for example, in Italy, more people have pets than they're having, people are having more pets than children. So all these questions, parenting and how society is defining all these things are really going to be on the spotlight. More people finding their voices, feeling called to share their gifts, to launch their businesses, to write books, to teach, to create content, put themselves out there. We might also see a lot of changes in friendships and communities. Um, some friendships may naturally come to an end because you've outgrown each other. There's going to be new relationships being formed as well with common goals, shared visions, including new communities, right? So we're going to be not only seeing new communities being formed, online communities, humanitarian movements, innovative way, technological ways of bringing people together, but also more people gathering in whatever way this is going to come. Maybe you're going to be a part of a new community or of a new group or new friends. In terms of health, we got to pay attention to heart health because Leo rules the heart. So this is a period also where there could be greater awareness around cardiovascular health and heart disease prevention, so take good care of your physical heart as well. So on a symbolic level, it's like what truly makes my heart come alive, and in a physical level is to take really good care of your heart, exercise. If there's any issues already, keep a closer eye, give more attention to your heart, go to your doctor, etc. Make the changes that you need to make sure your heart is healthy and thriving. Aquarius also speaks about the brain and the nervous system, right? The electrical activity in our body and also the neural networks. Okay, so this means that we may see greater attention given to neurological conditions, including brain health, mental well-being, neural diversity, and all sorts of enhancement when it comes to, cognitive enhancement, new discoveries in neuroscience. And it's a very important to mention that our world is becoming more and more fast-paced, more digitally connected. So it is essential to regulate and care for our nervous system. That is becoming more important than ever. So if you're feeling this in your life, and it can be coming from this place of excitement, you're putting yourself out there, you're feeling, the creative juices, and you're feeling happy and joyful and excited. Check in. Is this too much? Do I need to take a step back? Do I need to rest? These questions, these themes are very important. Our nervous system is really essential that we take good care of our nervous system. We may also see scientific breakthroughs, advancements in medicine and health, aviation, that's an Aquarius theme. So what's going to happen? Who is going to buy who? Who's merging? Are there going to be new programs and etc.? So the aviation as an industry is also going to be highly activated. Also engineering, space exploration, and all sorts of scientific research that could really accelerate and bring new breakthroughs. Technology, we know it's already moving so fast, but AI, robotics, automation, digital innovation, new digital platforms, these are all Aquarian themes. So we're going to continue to see these things moving at an incredible pace, including the shadow of technology. Just as Aquarius rules innovation, it also asks us to think carefully about its consequences. So we're going to probably continue to see bigger conversations around AI, misinformation, deep fakes, surveillance. Pluto is in Aquarius. I have a video on this that you can check out later, but Pluto brings the shadow side of Aquarius. So deep fake, surveillance, privacy, cybersecurity, and this growing power of the tech companies. And what is the balance between technological progress and our humanity, the heart of humanity, the Leo, right? So we talked about too much mind, not enough heart. Same thing with too much tech. And what about our humanity, right? The heart of humanity. And how much control should AI have? How much power should these large tech companies have, right? All very Aquarian questions. Also questioning old systems. It's a time to challenge outdated structures. So we might see a lot of reforms in education and healthcare and governments in corporations, financial systems, and institutions that are fading away or being somehow upgraded. Uh, we might see new humanitarian movements, that bring social progress, that bring helpful, hopefully improving life for humanity as a whole and people getting more involved in it. We might see new alliances between countries, networks, different networks. So, new alliances between countries, businesses, organizations, communities, forming new partnerships, and maybe older alliances shifting or dissolving. We might also see greater visibility for younger generations. Aquarius is very future oriented, and young leaders might be coming into the spotlight, innovators, scientists, artists, entrepreneurs, creators, again, stepping into more influential roles in all industries. And again, just to finish with one last thought, is this balance between AI and humanity, right? I think this is one of the defining questions of our times because as technology becomes more intelligent, how do we remain deeply human, right? Leo reminds us of the importance of our joy, our love, our play, our art and creativity and that genuine human connection heart to heart. Whereas Aquarius pushes us towards innovation. So how the lesson is not to reject technology, but it is to make sure that it continues to serve humanity instead of replacing what makes us human. So again, that is the invitation of this axis. It's not about just choosing Leo over Aquarius or Aquarius over Leo. It's about heart and mind coming together, heart coherence and mental clarity and vision, creativity with innovation, expressing your unique gifts while remembering that those gifts are serving and contributing to something bigger than yourself. So during this next year and a half, keep asking yourself, what lights me up? What is my unique contribution? And how can this unique contribution make the world just a tiny little bit better? And that can be just your community, the 5 people in your group. It doesn't matter when you're putting it out there, it is bringing light to others, right? So, I think that's the magic and the highest expression of this axis. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do. And also you can hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos coming up. And I'd love to hear from you. How are you already experiencing this Leo Aquarius axis? Are you noticing changes around your creativity, leadership, friendships, community, and also the vision for your future? Okay, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video.